before we go over them.
And
So-
we're gonna go
I
6
guess,
to 2, because that's a
even though
little
I
bit
had sent the
fast.
emails out to
Okay.
Bryn,
The
that
clock?
some of the classes were canceled and things like that tonight, so.
Oh, you want to sign it too, Howard? You can if you want.
Oh, I can take this off too.
No, don't do it today.
Joe's gonna do it.
Have it. Have it.
I can do that.
I'll do it next meeting. Joe was late, so.
Oh my God.
See? He's making the rules.
He needed help with email today.
I did.
Of course, after inviting Alicia for a year
Joe's
now.
disorganized when they come.
I picked the one meeting that we didn't, but yeah, for me,
Get
for
it
the most
together,
part,
Joe.
for me, your agenda will go out and a reminder will go
Well,
out
see,
typically
you
the
told
day
me
of.
that mine were bouncing back, and that was the other issue, so I was
Oh,
like,
gotcha, and you couldn't call? No, I gotcha, yeah.
so I'm like, I'm just gonna go.
I'm sorry
And
for
then if
make
she's
the
not there,
trip.
I'm just gonna say, hey, what happened? When I see her in an hour.
For some reason, it did not get put on the public calendar. And all of them were marked out, so it's gotten erased or something by accident. And that's my reminder for it, okay, when I look at my calendar in the morning.
That has access to edit it?
No, I don't believe so. It must have been me by accident or something.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Kind of a big gap between them.
those things all the time on my phone, so I don't know if like I have access somehow and it was on me.
No, I don't think that was the case. I think it's all on me for the bottom line.
I might be up next year.
I guess we can pass it down.
You know what, I have that information.
All right. Yeah, it's on the website.
Our birthday girl showing up.
If the teens come in,
It's her
hang
birthday.
on to it.
We're all here. That's why the kids came to sing happy birthday to her.
Well, that's nice, but we never thought to check if she was gonna be here because it was her birthday.
You gonna stay on?
Theory, we should be calling in if we're not attending.
Well, we have to
So,
have a
Shrek is here.
here.
Did you know Devin's gonna play Shrek?
suit and my.
So how was their
term is up
performance
till
Saturday? I went to see it Sunday and it was canceled because of COVID.
Yeah, that's what I heard.
in November.
It was
We
pretty
have
good.
to
The only complaint was it
decide
was hot,
however we want to
which
do
is
it.
expected.
You're there at 11, 12, or 10, I think was the Saturday one, 10 o'clock in the
10,
morning.
so a little bit better.
Pete? 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 Oh, sorry.
Richard.
Wrong guess again.
They went 50-50.
Yeah, it was only one left. All right, one more minute.
He's here for Citizens Open Forum.
You what?
He's here for Citizens Open Forum.
Oh, okay, good.
Actually have a comment.
Okay, good. Okay, good, very good. Okay, we'll do him first. Well, Pat's not here anyway. You said
All that
that. Who
practicing
said
we
that?
did.
She may be going out for dinner or something.
Ah,
Well, should they still sing?
Who?
It's recorded.
We're having cake anyway.
It's recorded. Now she'll have to watch her birthday party on TV or on YouTube,
It's
right?
up to you, Amber. It's up to you. You wanna?
Yeah, if they're up for it.
Sing to an empty chair?
All right, so I think it's about 6 o'clock, so let's call the August 9th Leisure Services Advisory Board meeting to order. First order of business will be our Pledge of Allegiance. And Joe, if you wouldn't mind leading us off.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Welcome to everybody, and
Their other team.
welcome especially to all of our candidates for a couple of open positions, and for anyone here for the Citizens Open Forum. We'd also like to welcome Joe and Kyle to the board. This is their first meeting, so welcome to the board.
Welcome.
These young men were tortured 3 months ago. Was it 3 months ago? I don't know when it was. Whenever we tortured them with the questions which you will be subjected to, so don't sweat, please. And just to introduce everyone, our names are up here in front of us here, and that's only so we know where to sit. Also present is, if you don't know, Ann Nixon, our city clerk, Chip Potts, the Leisure Services Director, Alexis Wells, the Assistant Leisure Services Director, and Bryn Dauphiné, the Recreation Supervisor.
Thank you for all of our staff being here.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's the introduction. Next item on the agenda is the Citizens Open Forum. If anyone
Happy
has a
birthday.
comment,
Let's do a happy birthday,
Well, you do have a comment, or do you want to do your happy birthday first?
maybe birthday.
gonna do the happy birthday.
Yeah.
We were
Okay.
supposed to have a birthday
So,
celebration
Miss
here
Pat, even
for
though
the
you're not
absent
here, when
member.
you watch this on YouTube, which one of us will show you, because I don't think she's a YouTuber either. Oh, they're gonna come up here? Okay,
That's
come up here, you
allowed.
guys.
Come up here.
That, Miss Pat, while you're watching this some other time, we've got two special guests, I guess, coming up here to help wish you a very special happy birthday. And we've got one, and we're looking for two. She's gonna hide behind the curtain. Oh, she had to
Since
put her
she's
hat
not
on.
here,
Had
since
to
she's
get her
not
costume
here,
on. Had to get her costume on.
since she's not here, she claims this is her 80th birthday. Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's why.
Maybe that's
You
why.
guys gonna start us off and we'll all sing? Come on, Holly, help us start us off. What did we say first? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pat. Happy birthday to you and many more. We miss you, Pat. We hope you're having a nice birthday
Now I
evening.
gotta spend a stamp there. Okay. All right, Citizens Open Forum. Anyone here to speak about an issue for the Citizens Open Forum? Step right up. Please state your name and address for the record.
Sure. My name is Richard Geyer. It's 8906 North River Road. It's in Tampa, though. It's not in Oldsmar. So, I worked with the prior mayor and I think Lynn Rivas for a while for bringing off-road mountain biking or off-road riding to Oldsmar. So I just wanted to meet everybody and show my face and maybe you'll receive an email from me. I have a couple of ideas that I want to kind of maybe progress into and Oldsmar was a big target for that with the green areas that are left. So I just wanted to say hello and maybe we can get something going. I didn't know what my first course of action is, so I guess that's my main concern.
Speak your
Do I
mind.
start with you guys? Do I,
Yeah.
do I go to
Yes.
city council? Last time I think I had to come here first. So.
Yeah, what I would say is we can have that discussion within our
Okay.
department. If you have an idea or anything like that, that's fine, and certainly bring it up to the Leisure Service Advisory Board
Okay.
as well.
Sure. Yeah, I just didn't know what the course of action was. I think last time it was moving forward with Lynn, and then that was the stopping point. But it's nice to meet y'all. No issues. I just
pleasure.
have my other idea I want to continue with.
Are
Looking
you
forward.
trying to get some kind of a riding trail? Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, I had a project that where it kind of failed in 2016,
Okay.
which was kind of an enclosed unit.
Okay.
But thinking more broad, more maybe something that the city would really take hold of instead of some huge investment. Really something minor that will really help. And with all the Greenland being slowly divvied up, and then the BMX track is great, but no one's really exercising on that thing. So no one's buying bikes, no one's out here, filling up the downtown. So I live over in Tampa, right over the side of right First Light, going to Tampa. Sorry, well, I didn't know I was going to speak that long. So I live really close. So I don't know as far as my involvement would be moving forward with Oldsmar. Of course, I could move 500 yards over, but I just wanted to meet everybody and obviously Mr. Potts, of course.
Cool. Well, thanks.
All right, guys. Thank you. Hope to meet you guys soon.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. All right, no other citizens wish to speak? We will move on to the approval of the minutes of our May 10th meeting. Everybody, I trust, has had a chance to look that over. Any comments, questions, additions, corrections?
The only thing I had, and I think I had it actually answered myself, under number 7, the construction and direction for the board purposes and actions. the name could change to Leisure Services Advocacy Board. That was a recommendation by one of our board members, right?
Gonna bring that up again
Gotcha.
tonight.
Yep, gotcha. That was the only question I had.
Okay. Anybody else? Motion? Motion to accept?
I make a motion to accept the minutes as they stand.
I do also.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, so be it. Next item is our interview of applicants. We have 2 vacant alternate member positions, and we have 3 people present. We have, in your list of applications here, Pam is here, Tatiana is here, and Steve is here. So if we could ask you 3 to leave just for a moment, just step outside the door there, and we will go over our process. And Devin, would you bring them in one at a time when we're ready? Okay? If you remember the last time we did this for Kyle and Joe, I gave you your question from the last time there. It should be in your file. If you don't mind asking the same question. And Kyle and Joe have a question that I gave them. So we'll just go, we'll start down with Suda, and we'll go this way, okay, when they come in. And Devin, you have a question too. Ask away.
Question, Jackson was here last time and he had a question, so
Yeah.
is someone asking his question?
You want to use it? You want to use it, or you want to ask it?
Which one was his?
He was 12, I believe.
He was 12, yeah.
Which one are you, Amber? Are you 11,
I'm
12?
13.
He was
Yeah,
12
He was
then.
12, yeah. You want to ask it? Yeah.
Am I
Is
allowed
that
to
all
ask
right?
2
Is
or
that all
just
right?
1?
Is that all right with everybody? Yeah.
You say I could switch my 9 for 12 because I don't think 9 is, for me, it's not quite as pertinent
Okay.
as
do-
12 is.
Do 12.
Is that okay?
Do
Because we
12
can't
and-
ask 2, right? That's what they've set us up to do, that we can't ask 2.
Do 12, and
Okay.
Amber, you asked the other one that Suda was going to ask, okay? And yours.
Do 9 or
Okay.
the other one, or your
I'll
normal one?
I'll do mine,
Yeah.
13, and you
Okay.
have to finish.
Gotcha. Shall we?
We'll do a redo at the end for,
Okay, after we do it, because they're all waiting. Yep.
Oh, my God.
iPad.
Do I have to put it on?
Now I have to put it on.
Oh. I knew I should have spoken.
Okay, so Suda, you lead off the questions, okay? And we'll just go down this way. Amber, take the 2 that are, okay? Devin, you want to bring in someone at your,
We should go in order of the applications that they were submitted.
okay,
Pamela.
okay. So Pamela first. Okay, okay.
I don't agree with that rule. I've been fighting it ever since, but
We're interviewing,
they say after the,
Yeah, she did.
vacant alternate.
Right up at the podium there. So just state your name and address, if you would, for the record.
Sure. Pam Aromala, 37 Emerald Bay Drive, Oldsmar, Florida.
Okay, and just be advised that this is an application for the alternate member position. It would require attendance at each meeting, but it would not be a voting position unless one of us did not show up. And then we would have to determine who's the first alternate, who's the second, et cetera, but, okay? So we're gonna ask a question each, and,
they said by the
be
order,
brief.
so these are
Be
not in the
brief.
order
Yeah.
that they came in. Okay.
go ahead, Sue.
Hi, Pamela, I'm Suda. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank you so much for coming in today and expressing an interest in being involved with our board. I've got, let's see, what are some agenda topics you would might like to see us to have discussed on this board? What kind of agenda things do you think we should be discussing or would like to see us discussing, or what do you think a Leisure Services Advisory Board should be discussing?
Well, my background originally was community recreation. That was my bachelor's degree. Moving on to my master's in geriatrics. So I tend towards the senior citizen community. Worked for the state for 18 years, Agency for Healthcare Administration. We regulated healthcare in the state of Florida, specifically elder care. So I lean towards senior citizens. I guess I might be one now after retiring. So that would be my hope and direction, that we would proceed, move forward with. We have excellent program, I think, for senior citizens, but would like to see perhaps more on that level.
Wonderful, thank you so much.
Hi Pam, my name is Amber.
The party coordinator.
And my question for you is, you kind of answered a little bit of it, but what skills do you think you could bring to our board?
Well, as I said, originally my bachelor's degree was in community recreation, started with the YMCA, as many of us did, moved on to activities programming in nursing homes and assisted living facilities, followed up by 18 years with the state of Florida on the regulatory side. So I think I could bring almost 40 years of experience in leisure and recreation services. We found in the nursing home environment or the assisted living environment, senior citizens, huge quality of life, of course, is the leisure time. Such a quality that's needed.
Thank you.
Hi, Pam. I'm Joe.
Hi.
How are you doing? I got a hard one.
Oh, it's hard.
Do you see any problems with meeting in February, May, August, and November?
Is that one of our questions?
No. We take occasional vacations. We live here full time, take occasional vacations, but of course with the pandemic, haven't been traveling too far, but I have no problem with scheduling.
Okay.
Oh, well, meeting once a quarter, I guess it would be that one.
It's once a quarter, did you say? Or
Yeah, I think
once
that's
a
what's
month?
on our
Or?
question sheet, is once a quarter.
Oh,
He picked the months to let you know. Which was good. That was more informative.
No problem.
Hi Pamela, how are you today?
Hi, good.
So are you gonna be available for more than just meetings? Are you gonna be able to attend city activities, and do you currently attend any of the city activities?
Absolutely, I would be available. Retired last August 1st, so with the pandemic have not been participating, as much as we would have liked, but certainly I'm available. My husband's ready for me to get out and do something meaningful. We've been together for a year of retirement now. So yes, I'm certainly available.
Thank you.
Okay, hi. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you.
What is your motive to being on the Leisure Services Advisory Board?
Well, again, I think that with my background in community recreation, then elder care recreation, I just felt it was a good fit. I looked at opportunities that were available when I became interested, and it just looked like the best fit based on my prior experience and now my availability.
Okay, good.
Okay, Pamela, how are you? I'm Ken. My question, you pretty much already answered it for me. Do you have any prior experience that may be beneficial to the board?
I think so, about 40 years, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
we're good with
Always had a
that.
problem with that.
Devin?
What do you like about Oldsmar?
Well, we've lived here 21 years. When we moved here, we came to care for widowed mothers who were living on their own in East Lake Woodlands but needed some oversight. And we were looking for a central location with a home-like atmosphere, and we found it.
Thank you, Pam.
Hey.
She's welcome to stay, is she not, Ann, you can stay for the other
Didn't we see-
other
Stay or
applicants?
leave, I can do either.
No, please stay.
Okay,
Please stay.
certainly. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Devin?
you.
What'd we do last time? Did you guys wait out in the hall for everybody to have their private time with us, or?
We were given the option, I think we
yeah.
decided.
Oh, okay.
I think we decided to wait out in the hallway though, and
Yeah.
let them have a moment.
Your option.
But it's your option.
Okay. It's when we were voting, they were asked to
Oh,
leave.
that's
When they
amazing.
vote, we have to
Yeah.
ask them to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next is Tatiana.
Kind of private time with us, but, because I think that's what we did last time. I tend to be a creature of
It should be in
habit.
order. So you should be able to flip from and right to Tatiana. And then the next one is here.
Welcome, Tatiana.
Thank you.
Just remember that this is an application interview, if you will, for a alternate member of the Leisure Services Advisory Board. It would require attendance 4 times a year at our meetings. The only time that you would get to vote is if one of us did not attend.
Gotcha.
So how we would determine who's the first and second alternate, do that down the road, but just so you're aware of that. So name and address for the record, and each of us will ask you a question. Just relax and name and address for the record.
Tatiana Cox Lopez, and I live in Harbor Palms, 1709 Hibiscus Circle North.
Wonderful. Hi, Tatiana. I'm Suda. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Wonderful. We're so appreciative of you coming in today and expressing an interest to volunteer on our board. So thank you very much for your time. My question is, what are some of the agenda topics that you might like to see discussed on this board, or what do you think should be discussed on this board?
I want to dip into cultural events.
We'll chat. Wonderful. Is that it? Thank you.
Good evening, thanks for coming.
Thank
My name is Amber, and my question for you is, what skills do you believe you could bring to the Leisure Services Advisory Board?
Well, I have a lot of experience with event organizing. One of my events is Tampa Taco Fest. I work a lot with the city of Tampa. I grew up in Tampa, but I've been a resident of Oldsmar for the past 10 years, and I love Oldsmar. This is where I met my husband, where I have my 2 beautiful little girls, and I see a lot of growth in our city, and I want to be part of that.
Thank you.
Hi, Tatiana. I'm Joe.
Okay.
Do you see any problem with meeting in February, May, August, and November?
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
Hi, Tatiana.
Hello, sir.
Are you going to be available for more than just the meetings? You're going to be able to go to city activities, and do you currently attend any of the city activities?
You see my face? Yes. Oh my God, especially after the pandemic, I'm dying to get back to events. I mean, they're so important to our community. And like I said, I love being involved. I'm surprised it took me this long to actually, reach out to you guys. There was a period where I was traveling a lot, and then of course I have 2 small children, but I think now is the time, hopefully we're coming out of the pandemic. So I think now is the time for me to get involved. And I have so many ideas that I want to share with the city. And again, I love my city of Oldsmar, and I see so much potential and so much growth, and I just want to be a part of it.
Awesome.
Okay, hi Tatiana, I'm Pat.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. It's an excuse that's why I was late. What is your motive to being on the Leisure Services Advisory Board?
So I am a female Latina minority, and again, going back to seeing how the city of Oldsmar is growing, I have a lot of connections with the Hispanic community in Hillsborough and Pinellas County, and I feel like Oldsmar is overlooked a lot, and I wanna again, bring ideas to the table that are multicultural and that can touch, not only Hispanics, but also females, younger females. So that makes sense.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
How are you today? Okay. Do you have any prior experiences that may be beneficial to the board?
So I own an multicultural, and that's important for me to say, multicultural experiential marketing and event production company. What that means is that I work with local and national brands, and we execute activations, events. And obviously with the pandemic, that kind of killed a lot of business. So with things getting back in the flow, I'm dying again to execute activations. And I have a few projects that I'm working on that I would like to eventually bring them to Oldsmar. Again, I do festivals with the city of Tampa. I grew up in Tampa. I love the way Tampa's grown, but my home for the last 10 years has been Oldsmar, and there's so much potential here. And there's so many resources. I'm an ambassador of Oldsmar without being an official ambassador. With this pandemic, my husband, my girls and I, we're very outdoorsy people. And Oldsmar has so many beautiful parks and so many things to do besides events. And I'm always constantly telling my family and friends, they want me always to go to Tampa, to go ride bikes and do the river walk and all that. And I'm like, I have a beautiful trail behind my house. You guys come over. You guys come explore Oldsmar. We love kayaking. Come over. We have a dock just walking distance from our house. So I'm very passionate. I'm an ambassador, unofficial ambassador, and I want to make it official.
Thank you.
Good.
Devin?
Okay, so you said you like Oldsmar. What do you like about it?
Everything. Everything. Okay, so I was born in Puerto Rico, so I'm an island girl. I need water near me, and the best place that I could live in is Oldsmar. Because, obviously hurricane season, it could get a little scary, but how beautiful it is that I could come home from work and walk 4 blocks down the road, and I have our beautiful Old Tampa Bay, and I have the channel from Tarpon, Lake Tarpon, and I get to ride my bike, and just everything. Everything. It's just really a beautiful city.
Got that right.
Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome to stay to hear Steve.
All right.
And then we'll ask you to leave while we vote.
Sounds good. All right. Thank you, guys.
Hey, Devin, Steve.
Thank you.
Apologize for those last questions, guys. They're kind of already answered, so. Want to ask something else? Jump right in.
I didn't think we were allowed to.
What's that?
I thought we had to stay to the script.
I'll stick to the dummy one.
Yeah, I understood,
good.
and
I'm good
if
with
we
mine.
have flexibility, we would like to know, but I thought we had to stay to the script.
Okay.
Be flexible. Hi, Steve. Welcome.
Chip just said no.
here?
Yes, yes, sir. Just reminder that this is an interview for the alternate board member here. Attendance is required at the 4 meetings a year. You would not get to vote unless one of us does not show up, the purpose of the alternate. And we'll each be asking a question. Jackson, you can jump in with your question there when it's there for you, if you'd like.
There we go.
And state your name and address for the record, and
Stephen Phillips, 513 Tangerine Drive, Harbor Palms.
Suda, you want to wing it with another
Hi,
question?
Stephen. No, I've been nodded by that we're supposed to stick to the script, so that is fine, and when we double up, we'll cover it when we come to those. Welcome, Stephen. Thank you so much for expressing an interest in our Leisure Service Board and, of course, in our community and volunteering your time to be here. My first question for you today is, what are some of the agenda topics that you'd like to see discussed on the Leisure Services Advisory Board?
Basically, I've been a resident here for Oldsmar for quite a long time, and I just like to be involved in youth sports and youth activities and express interest in different activities that they do. I'd like to possibly see maybe, down the road building a gymnasium for kids to play volleyball and basketball in.
The record's, I think, a long time. And
Maybe having some kind of runners group where the kids can run,
That'd be nice.
which
Yep.
some of them would be able to use in high school. They might find interest in that. Just various things of that nature.
Sure, great. Thank you. Appreciate your input.
Hi, Steve. I'm
Hi.
Amber. Welcome tonight. My question for you is, what skills do you believe you could bring to Leisure Services Advisory
I'm
Board?
sorry, I can't hear you.
What skills do you believe you could bring to our board?
What skills?
Yes, sir.
Well, from experience, I've been involved in youth sports since my daughter and son played Little League here back in it started in the 80s, I guess. My son was 5 years old, 6 years old, started T-ball. My daughter started T-ball at 7.5. I coached them. I coached my son for 4 years, 5, 6 years. I coached my daughter's team for 2 years with my wife. My son did football here. He played over in Town and Country football, but he was based here at Oldsmar for the Oldsmar Falcons. My son did cheerleading for the football team. I had a softball team here in the men's league for several years, and I also played on another team for about 7 years, which then my kids swam in the swim program over at the YMCA in Palm Harbor there at Boot Ranch for 4 years. I coached my granddaughter's soccer team. Myself, I used to run. I ran in the Oldsmar Armadillo race one time. So right now I'm on the board of directors for the Oldsmar East Lake Rotary Club, and I'm in charge of the Armadillo race right now. So I've been involved in, like I said, youth activities and sports for quite a while.
Very good. Thank you.
How you doing, Steve? I'm Joe.
Hi.
Do you see any problems with meeting in February, May, August, and November?
Do I have what?
Do you have any problems meeting in February, May, August, and November?
No.
All right. Thank you.
Hey, Steve, how are you today? My name's Kyle. I was curious, are you available for more than just meetings?
Yes.
Like, can you make it to?
I'm retired, so I'm available anytime you need me.
Yeah, so are you currently attending any city activities, or could you attend city activities?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's it? Hi, Steve, I'm Pat.
Hi.
What is your motive to being on the Leisure Services Advisory Board?
What is my motive
Motive
to be in it,
for being on the board?
for being on the board? Well, you know, I was busy with my kids, raising my kids and doing sports with them and being involved and working, so I didn't have a whole lot of time to you know, to do anything with the city as far as giving back to the city and helping them in any way. Then I started my own business, so again, I haven't really had the time, but recently, you know, I've retired and I'm looking to help the city, you know, the board in any way I can to help the city of Oldsmar.
Okay, that's good. Thank you.
Hi, Steve, I'm Ken. Do you have any prior experiences that may be beneficial to the board?
I'm sorry?
Do you have any prior experiences that may be beneficial to the board?
And beneficial to the board?
Yeah, it's kind of a question.
Kind of, yeah,
It's
a
been
repeat.
carried over, we all have assigned one.
Well, it looks like you've been on a number of boards already, so you're familiar with how boards work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was past president of the Oldsmar East Lake Rotary Club. I'm still a member of the club. I'm on the board of directors for East Lake Woodlands, one of the condominiums over in East Lake Woodlands. I was on the Oldsmar Little League board of directors for about 5 years, and we actually incorporated Oldsmar Little League at the time we were on it.
Can bring experience to our board.
Yes, yes, I think so.
Devin?
Hi.
It's over to your right. It's
What
one
is
of our
it that
team
you like
members.
about Oldsmar?
What is it that I like about Oldsmar?
Yes.
I like the fact that it's not a metropolitan area like Clearwater or Tampa. My wife and I moved here in '84, and we loved the fact that it was a growing city, but it was still a small city. It wasn't anything growing too big, and we liked the closeness of the citizens in Oldsmar. Like I said, I was involved with the Oldsmar Little League, and the people that I met and my wife met there, they were all close, and they just liked the cozy kind of atmosphere that Oldsmar has.
Jackson? Over here.
What are some agenda topics that you would like to see discussed on this board?
Go for number 9. I'm sorry, we've doubled up on a question. Yes, I apologize.
What would you say are 2 purposes that the board exists for?
One, it exists to create leisure activities for the residents of Oldsmar, to come up with youth programs as far as keeping the kids, involved in physical activities. Also, I think it's involved for adults. It's probably involved in senior citizen programs, and it keeps the senior citizens, give them something to do. And I think it's designed basically to create a leisure atmosphere as far as activities and so on for the residents.
Great.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Tatiana, Pam, and Steve, if you could step out for a moment and we will conduct our secret ballot here. Thank you for your time and answers.
So just a reminder, the ballots aren't so secret. I need you to sign them when you're done, and just put, and I do have a typo, it said mark 1 and 2 next to your top 4 choices. Obviously, there's only 2 choices. So put a 1 next to the person you think would be good for the first alternate, and a 2 next to one you think would be good for a second alternate. And if you don't think any of them would be good, you just don't put anything. And so that's what I'll use for the votes, and I'll collect them from you directly.
And Pete is not applicable, right?
Okay, what?
Yes, because it's basically your requirement that you want to be able to interview them. I don't think that you should
So at this
consider
point,
somebody who didn't show
I'm
up.
just filling in an A on his space, so I don't write that in by mistake,
Oh,
yeah.
That's all, that's what I thought, okay.
Oh, Jackson's saying he won't be voting because he missed some of the other interviews.
Okay.
Very adult of you, thank you.
Choice.
Yeah, right?
So, yeah, very hard choices. Sorry.
See where you sign in advance, yeah, see?
Thank you.
Lead on that one there.
This is supposed to turn it upside down or something?
Early enough to do it, too.
Did your mom ever do cheer yoga? Just wondering. No, okay.
Her back's crumbling on her, so. it's
Got a
not
sign?
something she can do.
Got a sign?
Just the three, right?
You can stay on for about 10 minutes.
Oh.
You're supposed to do,
I tell you what, you
and
know.
we're supposed to just do 1 and 2, not the third, right? Okay.
Should do a walking group?
Oh, heck no.
I didn't put a 3.
Her back's crumbling. Her vertebrae is literally crumbling, so she can only stand for about 10 minutes. Yeah. She's lucky she can walk out.
I'm sure there's other.
You get to watch it on YouTube tonight. Send you the link. We'll email it back.
Nice, Pat.
We talked about that before, and one of the things that we've also seen.
A big bib.
Getting the advertising out to those people.
I did too. I should have
pushed
seen
it
all
on.
of it.
Going to Craft Street after this for a party.
She can't stand, she can't go out
Going to
much,
Craft Street after
you know,
this for a
so-
party.
But I'm sure there's a lot of people that could take advantage of it, so, you know, senior citizens, more senior citizens programs and
But,
stuff.
I mean, what I mean is like, they're not gonna necessarily be looking to see someone like you pushing their parents to like,
Right.
you should do this, cause it
Yeah.
would really benefit you.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
Did
Kevin didn't get it yet?
He didn't get it yet.
We'll pass it all this way.
A lot of things.
Well, if a body not motion.
So discreet. I like it. Notice of it.
I don't.
Stay active, that's a good thing.
I'm the matriarch of this board. Well, I have a son who's.
When they used to do paper ballots for elections.
Booth,
big elections.
I got everything in bins, signs, everything's ready to go. Deeds. As this thing gets bigger, I don't think it's necessarily inclusive to it. You might check Safety Harbor or something.
But that was.
Devin, while you're up, yeah, thank you.
Okay, I have the results, so how do you want to, I just announce them to you or wait for the
Can't hear
candidates?
you,
to
Ann,
come-
sorry.
Yeah.
Talk
Do
towards
you
the
want me to just
microphone.
announce the results or wait for the candidates to come back in?
Announce it now.
I think
How did we
announce- I
do it
would
with
say
you
announce
guys?
it
Were
now.
you guys in here one night?
Isn't that funny? It wasn't
I
that
don't know
long
if I
ago,
knew
it seems like a
before.
blur.
Right before they came in, yeah.
You guys knew before we came in.
Okay, so,
So we have a consensus to announce before, please.
okay, all right, so alternate number 1 is Tatiana Lopez, and alternate number 2, Pamela Aramola.
All right, 2 ladies joining us.
Okay, Devin, thank you. You'll announce that again, Ann?
Oh, sure.
Someone's umbrella, I think. Okay. Just.
There was another half of her family there for a little while.
So just, I want to take the time to thank everybody for applying. And the results of the election is that number 1 alternate is Tatiana Lopez, and number 2 is Pamela Aramola. And then Stephen, we'll keep your application on file. We do have vacancies come up, and so we'll contact you when another vacancy comes up, but there are only 2 positions to fill. And then you two will need to be at the September 7th council meeting. If you can, we'll send a letter to you. And congratulations.
And our meetings are always open. You're always welcome to come join them, even if you're not on the board. I did that for 3 years.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for your time.
Thank you.
Time.
The 2 women?
Don't forget during your interview or your approval at city council to tell them, as Amber did, how harshly we grilled you during this
Yes.
session. Amber was, what'd you tell them, 2 hours?
Okay,
You're welcome to stay for the meeting, and thank you again. Okay.
Email or the notice of the meeting?
And we'll let you know, yes, yes.
And Stephen, thank you again so much for your
Thank
time
you.
as well. Please stay and join us or come to these meetings anytime. And then Ann will contact you if any vacancies opens up that you can come back for. So we definitely appreciate your time. It's always hard when we're picking new people and going by a little bit of resume and a couple of questions, but I just want to extend a special thank you for your time and your dedication of being here and your interest in the Leisure Services Board.
Amen.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, next item on our agenda is the monthly reports, project updates, and upcoming events. We always appreciate the monthly reports that we get, Chip, and project updates, upcoming events.
Okay. I'm just going to hit real quickly on some of the monthly report highlights since it's been a while. We did have our open performance in Orioles Park, which had over 600 in attendance, and these are just some of the highlights that I gave you. I just want to make sure we mention 3 new events that we had hosted. Chalk the Park, which had 210 participants in Orioles Park. We had a Sandcastle Day, which was at Mobley Beach Park. We had 125 participants there.
Wonderful.
And then, of course, we ran our virtual Memorial Day ceremony back on Memorial Day. Last one indoors. We're going to be planning for Veterans Day outdoors, so that's a good step in the right direction to get back to normalcy there. And then we did host our summer camp, which had 75 youths participate, and tomorrow is the last day of summer camp, which is a bittersweet ending.
Thank goodness.
We love what
And
we
the
do.
parents are home going, oh.
That Office Depot commercial or Staples commercial when it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Yes.
So yeah, those are just a couple of monthly report highlights for some of the events. Project updates, I've been providing you with those as well. However, I do want to give you the latest on 3 things. First is the BMX. If you haven't seen yet, the starting hills are down. It is a flat area right now. The vertical work is to begin the week of August 23rd. We're still looking at a spring opening, and we're looking at hopefully hosting a Pro-Am, a Florida State Series race in April, and then also the Gator Nationals in October of 2022. We're just waiting on USA BMX to finalize scheduling and get those things nailed down for us. But that's our anticipation there. Let's see what else. The spray park, the spray ground. The installer is finishing up. The elements are in. They did a test run with it the other day to make sure everything was working. That's good. They're doing some finishing touches there. They should have final inspection this week. Hopefully on Friday would be final inspection. And then we will be planning a grand reopening for August the 21st. It's a Saturday. I'm not putting that out as a solid grand reopening yet until I see the final inspection on Friday, because you know what will happen there. We'll just, we'll have to go back on our plans. So once we get that, we'll contact the board, obviously, and we'll have a ceremony out there, and all of you are obviously going to be invited. So we'll let you know how that goes on Friday. And then the pier repair was completed last month and is now fully open. So those are 3 distinct projects that we're glad are moving on here. So that's it for project updates. Did want to mention some upcoming events. We are in the middle of summer. We don't really get back into our special event season until October. But right now we have the Chamber of Commerce puts on Second Fridays, which will be coming up this Friday, Friday the 13th, and that is starting at 6 o'clock, and that goes until 10 right out here on State Street. As Steve had mentioned, the Armadillo Run earlier, that is coming up on Saturday, August the 28th. So that's a 5K and a 10K, and that is the Rotary Club who's putting on that event. Let's see, anything else on here? And then since our last meeting, we did get approval from City Council for the Chamber of Commerce to take over the Celebrate Oldsmar event that had typically been run by Leisure Services. They're going to be taking that on, and that will be moved to November.
3-day event, and
Yes.
they have the dates scheduled, I
Friday,
understand.
Saturday, Sunday. Yep, yep. So
With another parade, too.
with a parade.
Yes.
Yep.
That's what I need, 2 parade floats a year.
Right.
Yay.
So that's all I have. The other notes are in your monthly reports that you guys receive.
You know
You'll
how
have
much work
no
goes into
input
those
into
floats, though.
Oldsmar days?
Easily 40.
The chamber will run that. We will work together with them. We will be, if approved in next year's budget, we will be providing fireworks. So
And to add to that briefly, August 21st is the summer dance recital for Miss Suda's Dancers, free at the park at 5 p.m. for anybody who wants to come out and support our students locally here. Thank you.
What date was that?
August 21st, that's a Saturday. Should be, if I've got my dates right, 23rd or 21st?
I actually looked at it today, so you're correct.
21st is correct, thank you.
Ann?
I need to go back to agenda item 2. The ball bounced away from me. I do need to get a motion and a second to approve the
yes.
election results. Apologize.
I motion that we approve the election results.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you, Chip. Item number 4, we want to revisit something that we spoke about in May, ideas for board purpose and action. Just let me read, on our website, the page about the Leisure Services Advisory Board, we have a one-sentence description or purpose. The Leisure Services Advisory Board makes recommendations to the City Council on recreation programs, parks, and cultural affairs. In the latest resolution that was passed by City Council in May, Section 6 reads that the primary duty of the Leisure Services Advisory Board will be to advise the City Council and the City Manager or his or her designee as to the interpretation of the community needs and desires as to the types of leisure programs, parks, recreation, and facilities. To prepare and from time to time amend and revise a general plan for meeting present and future leisure requirements of all areas of the city and for all of its citizens. To act as a liaison group and conduit of public opinion from the citizens of the city of Oldsmar to the city manager and to the city council, and to perform such other duties which may from time to time be requested of it by the city council or by the city manager's office. In addition, the board shall immediately report leisure services items of concern to the Director of Leisure Services. So that's the long version of our purpose and focus. I met with Chip last week, and we kind of discussed the items that are in the notes from the May meeting, number 7, if you want to refer to it. I'll bring up a suggestion for the name change later, but I think we'd like to focus, based on our description here, just a suggestion that board members could survey the public for needs and desires, and board members could survey the public for satisfaction as far as giving feedback to city council. Chip, do you have like a timeline for those suggestions, or?
I would like to, hopefully at this meeting, that you could lead the board into deciding who would like to take on the role of the ones that we had described at our meeting, whether it's helping to develop a survey method, a methodology, questions, somebody from the board who can help to create a calendar of how and where to provide these, to implement these surveys or tools, and then to have a board member be responsible. And this is all working with staff. It would be one board member who would work with staff to develop these together. And then, so the third person on this first part would be somebody to accumulate and decipher the information that we've received, and create the report that comes back to the Leisure Services Department. The goal behind this is to utilize the board to actually fulfill the purpose, as Ken had said, is first one, interpretation of community needs and desires. We need somebody from the board to help us create that survey, that tool that goes out to the community. Then we can disperse to, go to our events, go to our programs, go to places where we don't have people that participate in leisure services activities because we need to know why they don't, or do they even know that we exist. So we want to work with that individual to create that. And then, as I mentioned, working together to not just the locations, but then to get the feedback and interpret what the community wants, and then report back at a board meeting. So I'd like to get something moving. To answer your question, Ken, I like to hopefully have something tonight where somebody from the board is assigned to each one of those particular tasks, and then we can get to work right away, meeting with the person who is assigned or volunteers to create that. So then at the same time, we work with that board person liaison to develop that calendar and figure out, and then at the next meeting, come back at our next meeting in November to say, you guys provide your report to the board, we agree upon, you agree upon, and then we go ahead and begin to implement, because by the time we get back to the board in November, we'll be getting into our main event season. Snowbirds are down. That's when most of the people are going to be outdoors. We can get those surveys or park intercept surveys or focus groups or whatever we need to do to get that feedback from November for the next 3 or 4 months. Come back and then really decipher the information, which then provides us, meaning the Leisure Services, the Department of Leisure Services, provides us that focus and guidance as to how are we going to create programming, how are we going to create events, right? We had something to talk about. Our new alternate board member was talking about this event or that event. I'm like, yeah, that sounds great, but we have to focus on what the community desires and needs are, and that's what we need you guys to help us to figure out, and that's how we would like to utilize the board. So once you determine who's going to fill what role, I'd certainly like to jump on that right away so that we can be prepared for November, have everything lined up, and then once you guys agree in November is, hey, this is the direction we're going to go, this is the calendar that we're going to have, these are the questions we're going to ask, this is how we're going to get this feedback, then we can go ahead and start getting that calendar going, getting that feedback when everybody's here. So that's kind of our desire there.
So just to clarify, we are, as board members, still allowed to do general polling at an event, and did you like everything? Do you have any suggestions? This is a more formal approach.
Correct.
To having some type of little form filled out that we can use for tallying and stuff like that as well. Gotcha.
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely more formal and consistent, and like I said, trying to reach groups that maybe we don't actually reach in our recreation centers or our parks. So utilizing the board's reach and knowledge of, hey, where do we go to find this information?
So, so what we want to do now is kind of get the systems together, like you said, like a calendar or even like questions and such like that, and then spend the next couple of months trying to put that together, and then come November,
right,
implement that
correct
into the public and gather the information that we would need.
Correct. So we would have one board member help to develop questions. One board member would help to establish a calendar. One board member would be assigned to help to tally, but that wouldn't be towards the end. That would be certainly after November. That would be more towards spring when we're bringing all that information.
So then you get
together.
the data together in November, and then be able to put that into work.
Right, analyze the data.
Or we'll start gathering data in November, and then next board meeting we have more information of how to implement the data that we got.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And then we also, Ken and I, we talked about as well, we could probably kind of make it a dual kind of activities where we would, the third purpose is to act as a conduit of public opinion, to have a board member then work with staff to create a satisfaction survey so that we can do both at the same time. And that way we're not extending it out. And this would continue on. This wouldn't just be a one-time shot. Once we get the first report back, we then the staff can utilize that information to start programming ahead into the future. And then as we continue to do those, then we can go out and do more surveys and kind of, because trends change. Recreational trends and programming changes. So trying to stay on the leading edge of that with the board's assistance.
Yeah, it'd be great to keep on the pulse of that, because especially if we do get a system together to where we can really find out what people like, what people would like to see, and keep ahead of that.
Correct.
That would be great.
Correct.
I have a question. Okay, so we're going to be have separate little groups that we're going to meet other than
No, individuals, no groups.
Gotta be one-on-one, yes.
one-on-one? So
Correct.
we're going to be assigned a task, and then we go out and do whatever, or do we I guess I want to understand what this is involving. If everybody else does, maybe it's because it's my birthday and I'm a year older that I don't remember things as well.
There'd be numerous ways to collect the data that we're looking to collect. We could do online surveys. We could do park intercept surveys where a board member goes to the park on a certain day at a certain time, and we vary those times because we don't just want to hit working families and we don't want to hit just certain people that visit a park. So a varied time. Focus groups are a good way to get those. So
But would it be good to go, like, with the staff? Would they have time, like, if I wanted to do something and have them give me ideas to go out, or?
This would be all consistent around the same questionnaire or survey, or will be used all the time so that we have consistent information
Okay.
coming back from the community.
Okay.
So it may be, so Pat, maybe amongst the board, when you create the calendar, maybe it's, okay, Pat, you're gonna go to Ari Olds Park on Saturday, November the 11th, from 11 to 12, and you're gonna try to do park intercept surveys by talking to people at the park. That's your role.
Okay.
And then maybe Suda does another weekend at the sports complex, and then maybe there's a location where the board has figured out, hey, look, you know what, let's go to this location because I think there's a large number of people there that we could get some good feedback. Or I know there's families over here, let's go here. Or we know there's seniors over here, let's go target seniors. So we really want to try to incorporate the whole community and really identify where, you know, where the people are, where we need to get that feedback from.
So if you had a way to, like, put that on like a 3x5 card, almost like a small survey card, right? Would it be beneficial to get that while you're out in the community doing stuff? So like, I'm in the barbershop in Oldsmar every Friday, and there's tons of Oldsmar residents in there, right? So I'm in there, and then I'm constantly running around in the city. So like, and then, you know, go to the car wash, and I talk to a lot of the people while I'm at the car wash. And then, you know, my regular routine, right? I see people around that live in the neighborhood because we're all in the same area.
Right.
Hot tuna for dinner, always talking to somebody where, you know, we're close by or we all live in the same neighborhood.
Right.
So it wouldn't be bad to have something like that you could actually just pull out and say, hey, you know, if you're in a natural conversation, you're not gonna chase people down at their dinner table, obviously. But if you're in a natural conversation with somebody, you say, hey, yeah, this is what I do, or this is the board I'm sitting on. You mind taking 2 minutes and filling this thing out for me, see if we can make the city a little better for you, and kind of present it that way. I think that might be an option that would work.
As long as we're consistent with our methods, right? You know, we want to make sure that we're asking the right questions, we're asking the same questions, and then we have consistency and validity.
But if it's on that,
But if it's on that card, right.
If it's on that, there's
Right.
no way to veer from
Right.
that. It's there.
I guess the question would be is how many questions are we going to ask, and we'll figure that out with the board liaison. You know, how many questions? What are the types of questions? But we can figure that out as we meet.
Suda?
I think both ideas are great. I think both of them have merit. My first concern is putting the public survey questions on one person to work with a staff to ask. I think we would all have input on what kind of questions should be on a survey. So I'm not sure if it's a case that the staff and one person puts together a mock-up and then that comes back in November to be reviewed and adjusted and added to, and then but I would think this is something we need to work on as a board, in a board meeting on the survey questions. You know, I do think it would be beneficial if once that is completed, that all of us have a dozen of these 3x5 cards in our pockets or purses, that when we go out to the public, we can utilize that. So I'm a little distracted with one person doing this and one person doing this. I really think we all need input on it. We want to hear everybody's suggestions of what should be on the survey, okay? Is there a reason that we're assigning one person to work on just the survey and one person kind of marked out for, okay, that's just one idea, one suggestion of the plan.
Just the idea.
Gotcha,
Is it a sunshine limitation?
Well, you have to do it during a meeting, right?
Well, that's
Well,
what I was
the
wondering.
initial contact with staff, though. Go ahead.
So, I mean, there are a couple things we can do. You can send questions to me, like individually, and then I could forward them to Chip, and then we could come up with something and bring it back at the next meeting. Or you guys could bring your own survey questions, kind of think about it the next couple months, and then bring it to the November meeting. So that's one way everybody would have input, and then we'd have that as an agenda item.
And I personally, am I wrong? I don't think it's fair to put it on one person to try to come up with the survey questions. I would prefer we can talk about it as a group.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
As opposed to just sending our questions to you, like we've already found that this works adequately, but we also find things get doubled up on too, okay?
I was thinking something similar to what you're doing, what we do with the interview questions. What if everybody sits down, does 5 or 8 questions, we submit it as a master list, because I may have the same question you have, but worded differently. So we could say, okay, well, my question and Suda's question are the same.
Right.
But, you know.
Well, that's
Suda's-
what we did to get to this, but you've even still seen that some of these are kind of duplicated
Yeah.
in some ways too.
But now that we know that, we could clean that up as well.
Mm-hmm,
You know, so I think that there's a way to do that also. But to go back to your point of one person doing the polling, I agree with you, because you're gonna be at events that I'm not gonna be at.
Right.
And Joe's gonna be at events that I'm not gonna be at. And, I mean, collectively, we're all gonna be at different events, and we would have different
Right.
places to pull that data from.
Mm-hmm.
You want these emailed to you, Ann, by a certain date?
Well, how would you guys like to do it? Because you don't have to email them ahead to me either. We could just bring questions at the next meeting and we discuss it then. Or you could email them ahead and I could,
Say email it ahead,
I
and
would-
print it out, and then we can go one by one and say,
That way you
this
could,
one.
you could take out the duplicates.
Right.
okay, so if
You
you
want
can
something
send.
Put the work
extra to
back on
do.
your shoulders. I was trying to put it on the board's
Ah,
shoulders,
sounds good.
but they tossed it back on you, my friend.
Individually, the questions by the middle of October. That gives me enough time to put them together in something that I can then make part of the packet, so you can kind of see everybody's questions ahead as well. And
what
that
if we
should
have-
make for productive
I was gonna
discussion.
say, what if I have way more than 5 survey questions? Am I limited, or can we just
You're
make
not
all our
limited.
suggestions? Okay.
Yeah, because there might, maybe question number 6 is better than question number 3, and I'm sorry, Chip, this is actually your thing, but.
Good. And then I think,
If
and
you're
then
good
the
with that,
next step
Chip.
would be to put it on our agenda. Do we need to request that formally with a vote or anything to put it on our agenda for next meeting, or do you have that for us now?
No, I have that, I'll stick it
Thank
on
you.
there, yeah.
And then we could discuss it further and as a group and kind of decide what we need to be surveying on.
I think the 2 areas, focus your questions or recommendations on how we can survey the public for needs and desires, and also how we could survey for satisfaction.
And that's
They're kinda
also for our
similar,
team members
but
too,
they're
correct?
kinda- Yes. Jackson, did you have a question?
Yes, so what kind of surveys are we looking at?
You're looking at questions that deal with a survey that would be for the public for their needs and
You
desires.
talking methodology or
I'm
types
just
of?
talking about surveys in general, like what are we planning survey-wise?
Right now, they just recommended that we all have cards, and we're gonna be doing it personally as we go to different events. I think that could grow also and be an online down the road and things like that.
I mean, I like how we split up, like each person can go into different parts of Oldsmar. So if we're doing different surveys, we can find questions, meet up with people, but in a meeting, we all come together, share our experiences and our inputs, come together and put a survey together. So if we split up, go to different places and come back together, it can make a good survey.
And I also think that you may not need 2 surveys. You might be able to do it all on one.
Yes.
Is there a reason to separate public satisfaction versus public needs and desires?
Do it on the same card and just flip it back and forth.
Yeah, so,
We had talked about
Okay.
for efficiency purposes.
Sure, sure.
We just have to have 2 different sets, one satisfaction, one is needs and desires.
Yeah. You do
Okay.
needs,
No, good
desires on
question, but I'm
on
just-
one side of the card, and you flip the card over, and you do the satisfaction on the other.
Okay, so, Ann, you'll need this by, for the November meeting, you'll need it by,
if I don't do it this week, I'll forget it, so.
That's exactly what I put.
October, I think she said.
October 15.
okay. Everybody clear on that?
Absolutely.
Yep.
So deluge Ann with, limited to 20 points. 15? Okay, good on that. Is there any desire to expand our name or change our name? I know that Largo and Safety Harbor, for what it's worth, their leisure services boards are advocacy boards. But yet Safety Harbor, while being called an advocacy board, their description says that they are advisory. So I don't know if we want to suggest a name change, since we're going to kind of expand or at least follow our duties. If there's any desire to suggest to City Council that we become the advocacy board or the advisory and advocacy board, there is a difference in the terms.
Well, excuse me, raising my hand.
Go ahead.
I think we are still in an advisory board capacity, even though we're advocating for some things to happen within our community. Even though we advocate for it, we may not get chosen to be, acted on, okay? Personally, a person that does names and logos for many, many years, I prefer something that you stick with rather than changing. And I imagine the Leisure Services Board sort of has been changed anyways as though two combined together. But I mean, I like advocacy because it means we're more action, but I don't think that's the capacity necessarily the council thinks of us. So that's my 2 cents.
Jackson?
Pretty sure, so if we want to expand, if we're thinking of doing a little bit more survey, getting involved with the citizens, then I think it would be better that we probably expand our name also, if we want to expand this whole entire board itself. But right now, where we are, I mean, I wouldn't suggest it now, but if we want to expand, go with the citizens and be more advocates for the city, for city council, then I would recommend that.
That may be one of our survey questions.
We're finally at, we will be at full staff, if you will. Any other comments on yes?
Yes, if we changed our name, we also changed the stated mission to match that, or?
I understand what he's asking. Our mission statement talks about advising, not advocating. And I think he's asking is, can we also?
Advocating, or would it stay as advisory, and if so, then what would be the purpose of changing the name?
Well, we're attempting to become more active in our advisory, just a thought. Just not to copy from other communities, but just a thought.
If we want to expand, I think we'd want to make that big. Like, if we were going all in, we would want everyone to know that we're kind of changing and advocates for the city ourselves.
Okay.
I think it's a good suggestion. Maybe we'll table it for the next meeting and just review it again. And I think as this part of us builds, that will be more, become more of an important terminology to use to let the community know that, we're.
As we get out there a little bit more and.
Right.
And become that advocate.
I mean, I'd rather us be advocates than advisories, because advisories you can take or leave,
Putting it out there.
Okay, so
Advocates is more like ethics-wise.
we'll hold off on copywriting that name.
Okay.
Can I just add one more thing to that real quick? Is right now, with the election for mayor about to happen, it might be the best time to make that decision, because you're gonna have an advocate in one of them, those guys, who's willing to help kind of push that as well, and be a little more willing to listen to.
Depend on who we end up with mayor, but yeah, I think if we can make a decision
I'm just
by
saying, I think
November, that would
it's a
be
good time.
beneficial going into the new
While
one.
things are changing, this board has changed, and that city council is gonna be changing with some other people running and some new faces, and then
Right.
possible new mayor coming in. There's a lot of things that are changing, so while tabling it till the next meeting, I think at that meeting probably should have some sort of an answer
Sure,
as to
and
what's
by
going on, because
February's
it needs to
meeting,
be
because
carried
the
through.
elections are in March.
Yeah, so
yeah.
we need to have that like ready to go by like February, I would believe.
And I don't know, Ann, what does it take to change a name on a board? Just city council's reading through dialogue, or does it have to go through Tom Trask and everything, or?
That would be a resolution.
Okay.
So it'd be another resolution, and they've seen several resolutions for leisure services coming up, so.
Hold off
and
on it
there's
as
just a
long as we can, kind of.
So, I mean, one thing to consider is, in doing that, are you changing the scope as well, or do you go ahead and fulfill this scope and then ask? And, there's a lot of things to consider, but, and there might be some other changes that you would be asking for, so you might want to wait a little bit to have some more oomph on those, because it seems like we're changing resolutions like underclothing. And so
This group, we don't meet that often. I'm not wearing my underwear for 3 months.
It's for the board, and so it's up to you guys what you want to recommend to council, but you might want to wait a little bit because of that. Because we just had one in May, right?
Yeah,
And that one was for?
that was to
Add to
expand
alternates.
Oh, to expand our board back to
They
the numbers
also
where we were.
changed a little bit of our.
Right, to
of
keep
our
us back.
focus.
We had to do it formally because we wanted to be back where we were. So it ended up having to go through the channels that way.
So if you think of another word that, you know, other than advisory or advocacy, but it would have to start with an A. Just kidding, just kidding,
Let you know
just
we're
kidding,
coming
just
late.
kidding, just kidding. Okay, all right, so October 15th, hit Ann with our ideas. Next item on the agenda is the Leisure Services Learning Moment.
I'm sorry, was that everything you wanted to go over on that list? There was some items you didn't talk about.
If you want to touch on it, if you want to. Well, the things like members could attend city council meetings, that's kind of a no-brainer.
The event liaisons, which
I
Chip
have
started for
under
me
new
before.
business, I'm going to suggest a van tour under new business. That's on the list here. You know, and if board members see any issues.
Yeah, that kind of stuff, I
Yeah.
understand. I thought it was
Okay.
more the event liaisons I was questioning, because I think that was a good one that we started to try to do before. So hopefully that'll come back around as well.
Okay, so the Leisure Services Learning Moment?
Okay. Bryn Dolphinet is going to give a leisure services learning moment update for us. She's going to just kind of talk about, a couple months ago, we started to host teen focus groups to try to get an idea of what teens want from a programming aspect. So we did those initially, started with Zoom, and we've had 2 meetings, and I think the third one is coming up this Friday. So just want to let Bryn talk a little bit about how we did that and what is involved.
I'm still getting used to hearing my new name, so it took me a second. He said Bryn Dolphinet. I was like, "Who?"
I'm getting used to saying it.
Me. That's me. For the record, I've only been Bryn Dolphinet for what, a month now?
Yes.
So as Chip mentioned, you know, we are starting to out NFL jumps and things like that, like where the professionals do the sports combines. Then they talked a little bit about programming, including music stuff, like instruments, playing different instruments, songwriting competitions, photography clubs, woodworking, and shop classes, and providing some more opportunities for Bright Futures hours through our volunteering. Our second meeting was May 1st. I was out at Sandcastle Day.
Right.
So I was doing a focus group from a park pavilion. But we got a little more into details about the sports combine that the guys came up with, which I think is a really cool idea. It started to develop into sort of a teen field day idea, to initially draw the teens into learning about what Oldsmar has and learning about what programs we can offer and kind of getting their input on what we can offer, and to generate excitement. So things like dodgeball, kickball, 3-legged races, sack races. It's starting to develop in a really cool idea, and I can't wait to see where we're going in the future with it. They also came up with some other programming ideas, including cooking classes, archery, self-defense and survival skills. And we talked a little bit about the ride outs with the teens that are doing the wheeling and everything, about potentially creating a separate event with blocking off a road, or maybe using the Environmental Education Center as sort of a trick station where the kids can come out, do tricks on their bikes in a safe location.
Instead of in the center of the street, yes, thank you.
And then, so like Chip said, we do have our third meeting coming up, which is actually this Friday at 7 p.m. We're finally doing our first one in person, which I'm really excited about. And we're really going to start diving into the field day event into detail, really starting to plan that out. Because I want to say we're planning it for February, I think was the date. So we're bringing in our events specialist, Eric, have him really start to work with these guys and develop this event so that the teens have ownership of it as much as we do, and really building into their input and making them feel like they own it. So that's how we're working on getting feedback from teen focus groups.
Great.
Hopefully we'll have some more.
How many did you have involved in your
So we've got
These
Jackson
two?
and Devon,
Right.
and then we have Operation Jack's Village, which sometimes is 3 teens, sometimes it's 6 teens.
Great, no, great.
So Operation Jack's Village does bring in a good different perspective
Oh, nice,
as well.
nice.
Any comments, guys, on that?
A little. I'm excited to see our ideas developing and that possibly if we start expanding that, this will probably be one of our specialties here in the advisory board, and I'm excited for that.
Devin, anything?
Nothing really. Field day sounds fun. It'll get me out of the house.
Oh, and
You to a 3-legged race, Devon. You and me.
You and Bren, 3-legged race.
You already
And-
got one bad day.
Sorry. In his Shrek costume, no less. Jackson, yeah, Jackson, you had something else?
yeah, so I had a friend come over that I hadn't seen in a long time. He said something very interesting to me that I would want you all to hear. So my mom was sick a few days ago, and we were there and we couldn't hang out in the house, so we were stuck outside for a long time, just going around the neighborhood, trying to remember stuff because he had lived in the neighborhood before, and he realized that there was not a lot of activities to do, and that I told him about our focus group and that he was really excited, and that tell him to come over to show him some new developments that we have. And it was just really interesting. We had nothing to do. I thought it was a interesting thing, and it goes for a lot of other kids. I mean, they do biking, but they go into places that really wasn't meant for them to do it there, and that if we develop more places for that, and for that especially, that it would turn out very well.
And I think a lot of what we're getting through these focus groups that you guys are helping us out with is really going to start to come to light in September once our new programming kind of really kicks off. We talked about a photography club. Well, we're starting to put one together. We've got blacklight paint parties, Nerf battle nights. We're really trying to build into some of these ideas that these guys are giving us because they're great ideas.
Great.
Thank you, Brent. Thank you. Okay, next item is, if you would, limit it to new business as opposed to board comments. Any new business anyone wants to bring up? Or Chip and I discussed a band tour that we had done years ago. Chip, we discussed that for maybe November? And that would have to be kind of a formal meeting?
Correct.
With an agenda, et cetera? You want to expand on that? That we could go to the parks or?
Yeah, so what we'll do is we'll visit each of the parks, the recreation center. We'll give you a tour. Some of you may have not been to some of the parks in a while. Some of you may be new or maybe not seen some of them. But we'll just kind of provide a general oversight of what we have at each facility and what our thoughts and ideas are for those. And give you guys the opportunity to ask questions or, take a look and see.
I can throw in some history in between stops.
And you can throw in some history.
With a quiz. No, just kidding, just kidding, just kidding.
Thanks.
Any special date or?
I think he's just saying in November for now, so we'll do it after we meet next time to kind of get.
Well, we can go early November, that's before the meeting, or Ann will probably give us some information here.
Next meeting is November 8th.
Correct.
So this would be, because this is sunshine, it would have to be noticed, and you would actually, I would recommend setting the date and time in this, in this meeting or at the next meeting.
We can set it, I'll look at the calendar right here just to see.
Any special day of the week, good or bad for?
My only input would be to do it before the meeting, so that way if there was
Yeah.
anything we saw, we could bring it up at the meeting.
There you go. Good idea.
Yeah, before the meeting is, you're right.
What do you got, Chip?
Let's see, so November, well, then, Ann, that's right, you're gonna have to have a meeting before a meeting.
Right, so at the next meeting, we're already gonna have something before the meeting because we wanna show our appreciation for volunteers. We didn't get to do a banquet, so we're gonna, the mayor will be here hopefully, and we didn't get a chance to do it this month, and so we're gonna do that in November. So, surprise.
Most other boards have already had that, correct?
I think we have like 3 more boards left to do.
That was one of my questions to ask, because I've had some board members bragging about their wonderful gift they got last meeting. and I'm
Wonderful,
going,
we can't even wait. It's just, yeah,
Okay.
so this board's scheduled for November 8th. And then, but the other thing too is in November, it gets darker earlier
I was
and
just looking
bus
up the
tours are
sunset
horrible
time.
at night.
So we're looking at sunsets at 5:41 p.m. on November the 8th.
Yeah.
So we'd probably want to do it in the daytime and in sunlight. I have no problem doing it on a weekend if you want to do it on a weekend day. So it's up to the board. We're flexible.
I read her face. I read her face.
Was the consensus to do it before the November 8th meeting?
Yeah.
Correct.
I think we should do it.
We're talking about the week prior to the November 8th meeting then, correct? Not October, we're talking November, correct, we think?
Well, that would be,
We could just do it earlier that day. I mean, how long do you think the tour would take?
If we're not getting out, I mean, less than an hour probably.
So we
Alright,
meet,
so-
instead of at 6, we meet at 5 and go on our tour and come back and have our meeting.
Or maybe, unless it interferes with work time, I don't know. But if we meet at 3:30, then by the time we get into the van and then circle around and come
Or
back,
4
then
to
we'd be
5,
back here at
5:30.
5 o'clock, have our
And
you
have
know,
6 o'clock
yay for
meeting.
you guys kind of thing, and then 6 o'clock meeting, or 4
4
o'clock.
o'clock? 4 o'clock?
So what day is that?
November 8th,
November
the
8th.
same day that our meeting is.
Oh, the same day as our meeting?
I'd have to do it before, if it's a weekday.
Oh, I could do
Would-
whatever.
would 4 o'clock, would
Is
that be
4
okay
o'clock
for you?
approved with everybody's schedules?
4
You need
o'clock's
to
fine
check
for us.
schedule?
How'd we have it for?
4:15.
Yeah.
4:15.
Jackson, Devin, 4
Just
o'clock?
we'll go over to Amber's house and pick her up.
4 o'clock, meet here?
Okay.
4 o'clock?
4 o'clock, meet here, leave by 4:15. That gives you guys a couple of minutes that.
So I'll be last.
Okay.
Work with you.
And that's,
At 4:15.
Need a motion for that or anything, Ann?
that's on November 8th.
Do we need a?
No, I'm okay.
Make enough motions.
Sounds
Make
Yeah.
a motion, we'll approve it. I make a motion that we schedule our van ride on November 8th, starting our meeting here at 4 o'clock and leaving about 4:15, so that we can tour the parks and then come back and have our meeting after.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, don't show up. Okay. Okay. Next item, board comments. And Ken, let's start down your end. Any board comments?
We are so late.
But I'm getting excited, we have something coming up soon, the BMX track opening back up again. And, spoke with Chip, earlier this week and sat down and talked about some ideas, last week, about a pro-am and a grand opening for that. Hopefully we can all be involved with it. It does draw a lot of money to the city and the county, between the hotels and restaurants. I think everybody's gonna be pretty happy with it in the end. So we'll be looking to do something like that as soon as the track opens up.
Pat?
Are we going to have opportunity to volunteer and work and do stuff with, painting like we did before and did our part?
You mean at the track?
Well, no, I thought you were talking about the,
No, I'm talking about the BMX.
yeah, right.
Did we do painting there before?
I don't recall that. I wasn't here when it was.
Oh,
we were done.
well, no, I mean.
There was volunteers from the
they
community
paid-
that
yeah,
they
the
had helped
community-
paint.
I mean, we painted.
They painted
top
the
of the
lines
track
on the
that they
track.
Tore down,
Oh,
the
Blue Hill?
the thing that you went down on.
Yeah.
Starting
Uh,
Hill?
we painted that and did,
That's all in our contract with the, with the.
So there won't be
don't
volunteers
want
doing any
volunteers.
extra
We
work.
did a good
Right.
job.
Yep,
It
no
lasted a long time.
volunteers. You did a great job, but we didn't get the job again.
I guess, okay, it was just a thought.
Okay.
Thanks for allowing me to be on the board. I would like to talk to Bran afterwards about a couple of things with her teen focus group. But other than that, I think we're making some pretty good progress, and I'm interested to see where this goes.
Yeah, I second that. No, thanks for having me here. This is nice. And for the splash park opening, which my family's like super psyched over, because we're like, when is this opening? We're going, we'll be there. So there will be like a grand opening, and anything that we can do, or I could, if there's like any help I could do, or
Figure out, look, we'll be hitting that, sooner or later, there's gonna be a grand opening, we know it, right? Sooner or later, it's gonna open up. So, we'll get involved, we'll let Ken know, and then we'll figure out, we go with Ann, make sure we're following sunshine laws when we're planning this. But we'll whether it goes through you, and we say if somebody can help with this or something, then Ann can send that out, and then we'll get everybody together for that.
Awesome.
Ribbon cutting too?
There'll probably be, grand opening, ribbon cutting, throw the water on and splash around.
My daughter was volunteering for that, and I said, I don't know if they're gonna do that.
Can I cut it?
Okay, my turn. I did meet with Felicia a while ago because I wanted to get an item on the agenda about the land use across the street from here for park use, but she iterated that we're not even close in that area right now, but she said that she does want our input, this board, so even if she has to call a special meeting, she will do that for us, so she just wanted me to let all of you know that.
Judah?
First, welcome Kyle and Joe. Thank you guys. We appreciate your input and your time, and looking forward to growing this board together. Trying to organize my thoughts here real quickly. Reminding Chip and Bren, I know I've already talked to Bren about it, but just as a general reminder, that our Friends of the Arts booth at Second Friday will have room for any kind of city flyers. I think it would be really great if we could work together and help also promote any of the programs or the newsletters and stuff.
I'll give you some stuff on Wednesday.
We've just opened our table up to share with the city because ours is also subcontracted programs that are under the Friends of the Arts. So I think that's important. Also, many of you know, and we are protecting our kids. I don't know if many of you are around kids. COVID, as everybody knows, is on the rise. The Meese Hospital is maxed out capacity. We had to talk to a nurse who had to watch a gentleman that was needing to go on a ventilator and couldn't. They didn't have it, and he just, had to look into the guy's eyes who knew he was probably going to die. It is hitting our kids badly. We've had a number of kids out. One of them that I know was out, tested COVID, and they came back going, it was very sketchy, meaning do we take them to the hospital now or do we push on through this? So protect your kids, protect yourselves. Even when we're vaccinated, go the extra mile right now because it's bad. So please be aware of that. Also, Anne, since you mentioned it's not good to come in with any more resolutions right now, and we may have some resolutions coming up, and I hate to be the bad guy on this, but I've never agreed with this resolution. Can we address the issue that if one of our board members comes in or two of them comes in after the minutes are read, that they are considered absent and their votes don't count? Can we fight back on that yet or not?
Actually, they're not considered absent, they're considered tardy.
Okay, before you had said it was absent.
No,
Because
the
that's why one
measurement
of
of
our
tardy-
gentlemen got kicked off because he was after the minutes. So
No,
that's why I'm
that's
trying
not
to
true. That's
verify
not-
what the ruling is.
Yeah, that isn't correct to my recollection.
Okay.
Right, but.
I'll look just for our records so we know we're all on the same page.
Yeah, no, but the measurement of whether or not somebody's tardy is whether or not they make it, they're here for the vote.
Okay, and I
for
didn't know
the
we had a
minutes.
tardy option, gotcha. So it's the
Yeah.
vote for the minutes, and then you're considered tardy, but there's nothing against you on that, right?
Right, you can have so many tardies and then you're off the board. But I'm not sure what that is. That's.
You want me
in
to
there.
read it? I have it right here.
Yeah, sure.
Because I think our new board members should be aware of it too.
Under section 2, it says that any board member who is late for 3 meetings of the board during a 12-month period shall result in forfeiture of their position. Missing the first vote in a meeting is considered being late. So you get 3 lates out of
Okay.
4.
Okay.
Don't push
Great,
it,
thank you.
Jackson, don't push it.
And then the last thing I had, the last thing I had is I'm going to continue to work with Bren and Chip to advertise the dance and theater programs. I'm trying to work with some of our new local competitors in the dance and theater who have taken a very close direction to what we're doing. And I'm trying to reach out to them so we can kind of work together, but we'll keep anything we can get more to the schools when we can do it. I am all about protecting our City of Oldsmar program that we've worked so hard to build. So I'll, just what we can to continue. Hip hop's never got more than 3 kids in it, which is like really odd. Theater, right now we're maxed out, but of course we're gonna start advertising early for the next show and those kind of things, and we'll have the show advertisements starting to come out. So anything we can do on there, and I'm still very proud that we get 600 at our theater shows, and we'll hope to continue to build on that. So, thank you, that's all I have.
Evan?
Come see Shrek.
Thank you, Devin. What date? October 23rd.
Yes, that, I knew that.
Down at the park, free event.
What else?
Put it on the calendar.
Not exactly related to the board, but I'm starting college in 8 days.
Congratulations.
Devin?
What,
Where?
I can't even understand it.
Starting college
Fabulous.
at
Oh.
SPC.
Can he take his mask off?
It's just early college.
That's good.
Classes out of the way, sure.
Jackson?
I'm excited in the way the board is going. Probably all.
All right, final comment from me is that in November, I believe that we have to vote on, Ann, or select a new chair and vice chair for the next 2 years. Our resolution,
Already?
yeah,
Jeez.
our
Oh, well,
resolution,
it's only 4 meetings a month, so yeah.
our
Every year.
resolution simply states that members of the board shall select from their own membership a chair and vice chair, and the board shall organize itself as it deems proper in order to carry out the duties assigned, et cetera, et cetera. So we can do it however you want the incumbents, or we want an election. Do you want people to respond to you that they're interested, or express their interest in any way, or?
Sat down, just stay up.
It might actually say in the bylaws how we should go about this, but
That's about all
usually
it
we just take
says.
nominations and then,
I think you guys nominated.
Shall select from their own membership, that's all it says, a chair
Well,
and a
sometimes
vice chair.
people don't like to nominate people, and sometimes people don't like to be nominated, so.
But that should be done in November, I believe, shouldn't it?
yes, yeah, I'll make sure
Okay.
it's on the
New
agenda.
one can be in place at the first of the year.
Just keep that in mind and that'll be on the agenda. Okay. Okay. Motion to adjourn?
Say motion to adjourn.
All in favor of adjournment?
Second the
Aye.
motion.
Opposed? And please stay for
Here we
cake,
go.
because someone has a birthday.
to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear pal. Happy birthday to you.
You're old enough to live in Bel Air Village now, Pat.
Hi, look at this.
55.
Because it's raining out, I didn't know if you walked.
Oh, she's 80.
Ken,
Thank you,
I
guys.
passed that.
We can't stay for
I always say that to the ladies, you're old enough to live here now, 55.
Enjoy cake. Yes, we're just doing the 3 weeks tonight.
Thank you.